Hello, welcome to the Forge Forward podcast. We're 1 week out. My name is Phil, your host, alongside our fearless leader, Courtney Smith. How's it going, mate?
I'm awesome, mate. I'm awesome. I was supposed to put notification turned off, and I just had a phone call right on the start there. How do you like that?
Good, beautiful, mate. Beautiful, mate. Well, we're here about to uncover the powerful insights and looking in what's the next in innovation. And joining us today, we've got Adam Lesky from TRAILD. Say hi to your fans out there, mate.
Thanks, Phil, for having us. Really great to be here. It's not too early in the morning on the other side of the world, so that's always a good thing, and really nice to meet you and the team.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And we had a little bit of a pre-session chat, and loved the conversation we had around the concepts of building harmonious relationships for the long term and create that flywheel effect. Given that we're talking about Forge has been set up to basically bring partners together in an ecosystem to try and build relationships, to build trust and all of those important things in order to do business together. Could you tell us a little bit about TRAILD and why you bought into the Forge?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, a little bit about the background around TRAILD. It's a AP and risk management platform, fully integrated with certain ERP systems. It's very industry specific now. We work around certain industries that we sort of live and breathe in: construction, manufacturing, distribution, things like that. And the reason I was so interested in Forge when I found out about it is the collaboration effect, right? That flywheel of working together with the publisher, the resellers, other ISVs, and working together to solve real customer problems. Each ISV has a different slight tact on the way that they solve a particular customer problem. And for me, it's not just about selling our solution. It's about working out what the customer problem is and working with the best solutions in market to help solve those problems.
I love it. We'll just end it there. That's a great podcast. Thanks, Adam. That was terrific. No, look. With all sincerity, though, when you carve out the big bad world, to go direct is a big journey, and you got to put a big team around you. And of course, we have partners in our ecosystem, the Acumaticas, the Sages that have built big direct and distributed teams. I love that concept of working together. So AP, what are you doing uniquely in that space? Because we know that can be really shallow or a little bit deeper. Can you go into that a little bit, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the biggest thing with AP is it's been around a long time. Okay, so OCR came into market back in the early 70s. And so automating data and documents has been around for a very long time. I think the biggest thing around TRAILD is the risk management aspect of it, but also the depth of integration into these systems like Acumatica and Syspro or Epic or whatever the system might be. It's the depth of understanding how that AP document needs to translate into the real world. Is the invoice amount correct? Does it match a subcontract or a purchase order? Is there any associated risks with that document from where the invoice has come from? Does it look like it's come from an IP address in Nigeria and the bank details been adjusted or changed? We want to make sure that the business is not just focused on efficiency. Efficiency is critical. You want to make things as fast and motionless as possible. But in doing that, if I'm a business owner and Courtney, you're a business owner, you still want to have visibility and control on what's going out of the bank, right? And a lot of these mid-market companies across the world really are focused on, yes, how do we make it really fast? And then something happens on the other side of that. Money gets leaked out of the business through mistakes or errors or potentially invoice fraud, things like that. And we want to make sure that impact to their bottom line is protected. And that's really what we focus on, and one of the most innovative things that we do.
Yeah, huge. And clearly that's making sure you don't leak, but also from a cash flow point of view, I'm assuming real time. I'm assuming you're doing smarts in the back end to identify what are risks in terms of things that shouldn't be going through to the keeper. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Definitely. So I think the best analogy here, and it's one that I've lived really closely by our entire existence since we came to market in early 2017, was you have all this AI and security on your credit card, right? You go to a local gas station and you swipe your card for $10, and everything's monitored and protected. When your card goes off at 3:00 in the morning in Vancouver, you get an instant notification from the bank to say, hey, Courtney, this seems suspicious. $50 has just gone off at a local pub in Vancouver. You're asleep. What's going on? And you can approve that transaction, suspend it. You've got always on protection over very small transactions happening in your daily life.
Falcon.
The Falcon, yeah. And so for me, it's like, we had this aha moment with one of our customers, and it was very early days where they were defrauded by a business email compromise scam. And we said to ourselves, this is mad. You've got all this security and AI on a $10 transaction, but for the millions of dollars going on through your business and AP, you're relying on a manual review from an AP clerk. Like, it doesn't seem logical to have all that exposure for your business, but none for your credit card. So how do we help them fill the gap? And to digitize the data to get to the risk management of what they were doing, we had to apply some level of automation. And so the idea of the automation was always built in around how do we make sure the business is protected? How do we make sure the owners have control? And how do we make sure the business is operating in the best way it can be?
Love it.
Well said, mate. Perfect. Can I ask, how does TRAILD stay ahead of industry trends? And a 2-point question is, what role does the partnerships play in its success?
So industry trends, as we all know, the evolution of AI, buzzwords, ChatGPT, machine learning, all these things, it's just the same stuff relabeled. I know there's a whole bunch of innovation that's truly around it, and there's no doubt in my mind or question as to the value of some of this stuff. What gets spat out to businesses in the mid-market, a lot of it's not relatable to industry. Like, you talk about AI and machine learning, and they're trying to take that information that you're talking about and translate it to a manufacturing plant. And what does that actually mean in my supply chain? What does that actually mean in terms of what I do every day? And sometimes what we're trying to do, especially with the reseller and VAR relationships and even other ISVs that we partner with, is understand, how do we make it so applicable that it makes sense to it be a no-brainer for these people to do it in their business? And I think some of the buzzwords actually get people scared. Everyone's on this marketing tangent to make it all sound amazing, and it's like, well, what does a crux actually mean for a real mid-market business? So we really work with our resellers and our ISV partners really heavily to understand what are the real true problematic challenges in these verticals, and then how do we apply normal language that makes sense to these people every day in the things that they do to show them how the products can help benefit their business. And so I think with all the buzz around words and marketing and what happens out there with evolution of technology, a lot of what we do gets lost in these mid-market businesses going, I get it, it's cool, but how does it apply to me?
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right, mate. Yep. Those aha moments, mate. That's what's going to come out of Forge. I tell you that, mate. And I love using that term, mate.
Yeah, I think some of the biggest stuff for us is like, we need to bring it back to what the industry really is, right? You got customers in manufacturing, construction, all these different verticals. Let's bring it back to what it means for them, because it's not the same for every sort of customer. And so the cool stuff that we're doing in AP, it's some of the stuff is only relevant to certain clients. Like, I'll give you an example, landed costs, right? I had a customer the other day that said to me, I deal with 90% of my documents deal with landed costs. We've got freight charges on there that aren't accounted for on the purchase order. And would that be something I would show in a generic demo? No, not unless it's a real problem for that client. And so you turn around and go, what are we showing in these demonstrations and these product things? Is it customized enough to the industry? Is it customized enough to the true customer needs? Or are we just spitting words at them like ChatGPT, AI, machine learning? Doesn't actually mean anything to the customer. And I think the VARs are struggling with the same thing. There's all these ISVs that are going to them and saying, these are all the solutions that we've got and all enabled by AI. What the hell does it mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
And look, we can see by just being part of if this then that, there's an AI for that, and the neuron. You just see this extensive list going bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think that we have this risk that everyone will get sucked into the bottom looking at these intricate individual single solutions, but lose the big picture a little bit for a little while about what are the problems they're trying to solve. That's not just, I don't know, as we talk about in AP, just doing a match. Like that's not where it ends, right? That's not where it ends. It's interesting. And I've got a question, a left of field one for you, Adam. You listed off some industry types. Have we got an industry code, or how do you describe this industry in which we operate, this blue-collar industry? Because we call it specialised services, we call it the dangerous and dirty industry. Like, what is this industry code?
I'm not sure there is one. It's called, for me, it's like called Customization Central. But like, look,
Yeah.
we've got to do what we've got to do to make our customers happy. I think the thing is too that if you see, and I feel like this for us is it definitely been the case. The more we see in certain industry segments, the more customers we support, the more customers we help. We start to standardize as much as we can. So we start to see, customer 3, 4, and 5 needed this customization. By the time you get to customer 103, you've really built sort of a customization platform layer that allows you to deal with these sort of more intricate changes with a single source of operation or integration, but you can leverage it up and leverage it down based on what you've seen in other customers. And so as much as we've customized probably the first 50 customers that we've brought on the platform, we were able to then build that into core functionality for the product that had enough bend in it so that you could accommodate other customers that come in with, I didn't realize I needed this, but it's actually something very bespoke to my business. And you might be able to change field A for field C because you understood that could have been a requirement in the future. And so we're starting to build more of that flex into the product to make sure that it's not if you want a standard out of the box AP solution, you're probably not going to be on Acumatica. You're probably going to be on MyUp Account, right? Because it's sold to 2 million people around Australia and New Zealand. So you're not going to have a whole bunch of flex in customizing your core system as you would not expect to be able to customize your add-on solution. So I think it's just it's a benefit and a pitfall of the mid-market ERP experience.
Yep, couldn't agree more. So given there's some challenges with that, are you seeing any challenges coming over the horizon? I like that you framed that exponentiality can be undersubscribed in terms of its positioning. So AI, GPT, machine learning, these are all buzzwords. But I also think with a couple of the big things that are taking place in terms of global technological change, there are going to be some challenges for everyone as we go forward. Have you seen any? Is there anything in the horizon that stands out for you?
For me specifically, I think it's just the way, I think the technology is obviously, there's the buzzwords and then there's the actual true evolution of where we're going as an industry in IT. And I think things are moving 100x faster than they ever have before. Whether the adoption rates mirror that, I don't think they do. I think people are adopting at a much slower rate than what we actually think, but the technology is developing extremely fast. And so I think one of the biggest challenges for us is keeping on top of what we need to do next, because it needs to move so fast without jolting and building new product features that are just based on industry trends, but actual customer requirements. It's that fine balance between adopting the customer need and applying the product to the customer and adopting industry trend and building to the future. And so sometimes it's that balancing act between, do I deal with what's in front of me now to deliver on what the customer needs and requirements are? Of course you do. That's what good customer service and delivery is about product. But then there's also the piece around, how do I make sure I don't miss the thing that's coming next? How do I make sure that my industry and my space isn't disrupted with enough going into R&D at the same time as building the core business? And I think every ISV and every publisher, every VAR, every ERP system in the world has that balancing act between growth and existing customer satisfaction and what's going to revolutionize the industry moving forward. And as I said, it's moving at 100x in terms of technology innovation, but it's only moving at maybe 10x in terms of technology adoption. And so you've got to pick the things that are really going to move the needle, because people take time to adopt and move.
I also think there's this great opportunity to do things that aren't necessarily the way that the future projects, which is this mass information delivery, 100x speed in which the technology improves, 100x the features, functions, and benefits. This concept of collaboration, this concept of actually delivering effectively to a client, having conversations, sitting with them, understanding their problems, and then trying to work with them to solve those things. How important do you see collaboration? How important do you see the human aspect in this next period?
I think there's two pieces to that collaboration. I think there's human collaboration, absolutely, in terms of truly understanding and working with the customer, and also explaining what other customers have done to solve the problem, because you have breadth, whereas this customer's got real industry understanding of their business, but you've got breadth across the industry. And then there's collaboration across the ISVs and the resellers, because they've seen 10x more than we have, and so they're able to have even further breadth and collaboration and work out, well, is there actually ways that we can start to bend these systems together to give a single source of truth or a single application that tries to sort of solve these problems at scale? And so from a collaboration point of view, I think it sits in both buckets. I think it sits in the individual customer relationship to the partner they're working with, but also more broadly between the ISV, the partner, and the publisher to make sure that they're trying to do the best thing they can do to align the technology and give the customer the best experience together.
I can't wait to have a sit down with you and your team at Forge, mate. And we've got a day 2, which is all about problem statements from industry and trying to identify what they're seeing and how we can do a couple of things. A, bring them back into the partner network to talk to those issues. And that might be a multi-tiered strategy in some instances like you've identified. But we're also going to have a bit of fun with some AI, and hopefully some students are going to rip out a couple of agentic AI little proofs at the end of that day. Don't know how that'll roll. I've got some good people in the team that can assist, but we should try. We should open up some eyes. Yeah, Forge will be fun. Day 1 being innovation, which you're going to be speaking at, Adam, and then day 2, as I said, we open up the kimono. We show the world some of the things that we do in what I think, if you wanted to go to a single event, and this is why we started with partners like you. Imagine being an end user and being able to walk into one room and see all the things you need to think of in a conversation sphere over the course of a day that's actually really engaging and enlightening. I know how long it takes for me to research, look at new products and think about the implementation. It's a lot of effing work, you know what I mean? Whereas if you can get this coalescence of high quality people in a room together, mate, you're shortcutting so much time and energy, and trust is already built there, right? Because everyone trusts each other and you're stepping into a trust sphere. So anyway, super excited. Went off the tangent a bit. Bring me back in, Phil. I
was actually going to say, Courtney, that's great, because the biggest thing for these people is the evaluation process takes a long time, and you don't want to make the wrong business decision, right? It's not just about the software; it's the person that you're getting in bed with, and the person that you're getting in bed with is going to be a long strategic partner for any business that's buying an ERP. And so, how do you make sure that they can do what they say they're going to do, that the product actually reads what it says on the label, and the execution and delivery of the business is going to be there for you? I think an event like this, backed by the publisher and the resellers in partnership with the ISVs, shows that credibility that they need to have some trust in what you say is what you deliver. And I think that is a huge gap in industry just across the board.
Mate, I agree. And it's going to take a couple of runs at this, I reckon, mate, to be honest, because certain people look at things differently. Transactionally versus abundance can be one way to look at things. And I feel the publisher in this scenario, we need to give them these sorts of tools as well to show their products in a scenario that's high value, with the implementation teams there at the ready that they can know are trustworthy and capable. I love it. I love it a lot.
Mate, it's the same analogy of getting married, mate. You're going to invest all your time into this relationship. You better make the right choice before you put the ring on it. But,
that's it.
Yeah. Quick question: how does TRAILD, differ from the competition? What makes that company a lot more, superior?
Yeah, I'd love to talk to all the product features and innovation and tech, and we've got all of that, right? But I think the biggest thing, and I think I mentioned it just before, what we say is on the box is actually what's in the box. And I think the thing is, there's a lot of publishers and there's a lot of ISVs, especially across the different ecosystems, that unfortunately do sell a bit of smoke and mirror. And what they see on the screen isn't really what they get as an experience in the product. And a customer said to me the other day, we had a catch up with them a couple of weeks after they go live, and the CFO said to me, for one of the first times ever, I feel like I actually purchased something that what I saw in the demo, I actually got in the product. I said to them, what do you mean? He said, it's the only industry in the world in technology where you can buy something, you subscribe to it for 12, 18 months, 2 years, whatever it is. And, you can't take it back if it doesn't do what it says it did. And, he gave me the analogy of a pair of jeans. You got to buy a pair of jeans from Walmart. They got a hole in them. You take them back to Walmart. They replace them. You get a brand new pair of jeans. When it comes to software, for some reason, you buy the software, it doesn't do what they said it could do, and you can't take it back. You can't return it. So I think the biggest thing for me is if you live and breathe by your product, then don't contract customers in. You don't need to. The product will deliver based on what you know the product can do, and then support the customer all the way through, because the word of mouth and the integrity of what you're selling speaks volumes to resellers, speaks volumes to other customers, and word of mouth is what actually grows your ISV and your business.
Yeah. Change of management's not easy though. As you said, different levels of maturity of technological understanding and these sorts of things. We've got a big stack, and we often get into scenarios where we might not get the necessary information in the right amount of time. So there's also that human element, and I said it before, we keep on coming back to that human element being a really important part of the relationships between client, vendor, and publishers.
Because I think, Courtney, as well, as you mentioned, you can continue to build more product, you'll continue to be more innovative, and you'll beat the competition on product. But what are you doing outside of product? Because product's critical. You need a good product, you need a best-in-class product. But what are you doing outside of that to really stand by why a customer will pick you? And I think that is the human relationship, and I think it is the credibility between you, the publisher, and the reseller, that you're in it together, you're in it for the customer, and you're going to deliver on what the customer needs to help them grow their business.
And what I love here is we've got 3 people that have been involved in growth, and I think there's a really strong, for the kids out there that watch this, for the kids that attend to day 2 of Forge, growth and sales and relationships are career paths that could be really positive moving forward in this AI exponential world, right? So, if there's anything to even take as a little snippet of a side play here, is to think about the roles you're going to take. And we've got 3 people in the room that's job is to go and talk to people and talk about products and services. So that's another side segue, but I think it's important in identifying
people like to do, and Courtney, I couldn't agree more. People like to do business with people they like. And so if you're just selling using AI, and you have no interaction, and you're just booking demos and closing deals without any engagement, you're going to see a higher rate of churn and probably a lower rate of customer satisfaction. That's just what I say.
We had the shorts here, Phil. A few wonderful snippets.
I was just saying, I witnessed a perfect demonstration of this. A great example where we sold the system to this HSCQ manager, which they helped us implement the system into their practice. And over the course of 15 years, that same person has moved on to 3 different establishments, and each time they've moved to a different establishment, they've brought us in. Hey, I love what you did in my last establishment. I need you to do it for these guys. And I was like, holy crap, this is the kind of person you want all the time. These are the people you want to target, because they will take your product everywhere.
Absolutely, yeah. So the word of mouth is critical, and delivering on what you guys say you do, which is
If you give a superpower to someone, they will continue to use it in their career. That's the truth.
Absolutely.
One of the main themes of the event is identifying signals for success. I guess I wanted to ask you, what signals have you been seeing in the market today, and what do you consider crucial for maintaining your personal company's success as you go?
Yeah, so I think the signals in market is obviously one of the critical things is listening to the customer, but listening to the customer and making sure that the product roadmap feeds scale, not individual customization. I think sometimes we get as ISVs, I think we sometimes over-index on a specific one customer because we just desperately want to solve the problem. And obviously there's a piece of that, but then there's also the pieces that how many other customers in the world actually need this, right? Is this a simple one-off, one business, one fix problem? And that's fine. You build and you solve for that. But is this actually fundamentally moving the company forward in terms of what the industry in general is asking for? And is it actually a problem that other customers and people will experience in the future? And I think the signals are work with your reseller. They have greater breadth and broader industry experience and access to more customers that they're working with every day than you will as an ISV. And so for me, it's like work together, collaborate, understand if it's just an anomaly in the bell curve or it's a real trend, and find out as many data points as you can before you start building product and making a decision. Because once you invest the cash and you're building product, at that point, it's too late. You better make sure it's right.
No, I absolutely agree, mate. Perfect. Well,
words of advice. The general market, Adam, you used Walmart as an example before, which is quite a funny coming from an Australian accent. Can you talk to us about that globalization and that reach piece and some of that journey that you guys have had to undertake? I'm really curious about that.
For sure. So yeah, obviously the Walmart example, I spent too much time in the US, hence why I'm desperate to come home. But for me, really, I think the customer industries and the verticals are the same worldwide. So I truly believe that if you build and you're deeply focused on an industry segment and you have an unbelievably deep integration with the publisher, I don't think there's any borders, just like me going and searching for a US product that I want to buy. I don't think there's any borders when it comes to technology and what we do. And the reason I say that is because it is a global marketplace and people are looking for the best solutions worldwide to be able to solve their problem. And so for me, if you have an understanding of a specific system and you integrate with it best in class and really deep, there's no reason you can't go into different markets and different verticals. We as a company started in Australia. We head office out of Melbourne. Today we operate in 15 different countries. We sell software in multiple different languages. So we have multilingual capability. I have customers in Quebec and, dealing in French, customers in Asia dealing in Mandarin, different sorts of things. And I think if you build with a global lens and solving a global problem per industry vertical, I think the world is your oyster. I think there's so many businesses out there in different markets with the same problems in the same verticals that you're operating with in Australia and New Zealand that are desperate for solutions like Connection or other ISV products in market that the resellers also struggle to find. So I think, the globalization of the product is really understanding the depth of integration with your ERP, your relationship with your resellers, and then the collaboration between yourself and other ISVs that have done it or are working towards doing it to be able to help each other bridge that credibility gap. And I think that's part of that human collaboration.
Sounds like we're going to do a Forge trip to one of the states in the US and do an ISV roadshow, buddy. That's what it sounds like to me.
I think it's going to be a fun phase 2 for sure.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Mate, I'm excited of the stuff that we can accomplish together. So this is going to be great. Got me goosebumps, mate. Got me going. I want to book a ticket to the States tomorrow.
Vegas in January is pretty good, guys. I hear.
We've got on our look. See, we're wondering if we can do this year or next, but it sounds like with guys in the pocket, knowing you guys and the like, it might be worth heading across and having a couple of brewskis.
Yep, sounds like a plan, guys. Sounds like a plan.
Mate, on that note, it's been a wonderful podcast, mate. A lot of food for thought out there. I can't thank you enough for your time, the respark of this collaboration that we're going to start together. Mate, I can't thank you enough. Courtney, do you want to say anything?
No, it's just great to meet you first time, Adam. Can't wait to see you in the flesh, and I enjoyed our conversation greatly. I think similar thinking, similar ideals and thoughts, and that's always a nice time. Be in a room with someone that's like that to flesh out ideas. So thanks again for today. Really appreciate it and look forward to seeing you at Forge.
No problem. Thanks so much for having us along, guys. We're really excited to collaborate and be part of this. For us, it's about the next turnkey for ISVs in the real world. And I think doing this together, we can really change the way that the industry is perceived. And I really hope that young starters, I've got twin girls at home. I hope they can watch this one day and go, my dad had some influence in pushing the envelope forward in terms of the way we use technology, the way we work together, and the way we bring customer satisfaction in what we do. So
I just love that. I love that close, mate. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot.
Take care.